Good day, everybody. Paul David here. Today, I would like to do a review of the new Beatles movie, Get Back. It's on Disney Plus. I paid a little over $7, I think $7.99, and downloaded the app to my smart TV just to watch this movie. It is produced by Jeff Jones, the producer of The Lord of the Rings. The first striking thing about the movie when I saw it, the cinematography was so clear. I thought that I'd rented a movie and it was all actors reenacting the studio footage of the movie. The video was so clear. Eventually you see John, Ringo, George, and Paul walk in, and I'm looking at the screen and I'm saying, yeah, that's really Paul. The videography was just incredible. It was compiled from, I believe, 175 hours of video. The first take was brought down to an 18-hour film, and then it had to be edited down to 6.5 hours. And the movie basically is just a documentary. There's no narration. It's all subtitles telling you, here's George Jones, here's Ringo, here's George, here's Paul, here's John, and various other big name figures for the Beatles at that time. And it starts out, they're in a movie studio, and the Beatles are intending to make a live television show. They're going to write an entire album. They have a little less than a month to do it. And they start writing the songs, and George quits the band, and they're thrown for a loop. But they have to cancel the television production. And eventually they get together, speak with George. George agrees to come back, but he wanted to leave that huge studio where they were going to do the live production, go to their newly built Apple Records studio and record their album. There they recorded the Let It Be album. At the end of the movie, it culminates with the rooftop concert that we all have seen. But there's a lot more documentary footage of interviews on the streets as the concert is going on. You saw the couple police officers that were in the movie. That they show you where the police officers are called, enter the building. They have to wait 5 or 10 minutes, finally go upstairs, and eventually the band stops playing. But probably the most striking footage from a musical standpoint is you actually get to sit for over 6 hours, because I believe the first film is about 2.5, the second one is just shy of 3 hours, and the last segment is 2.5 hours. Just watching the Beatles in their creative process. You get to hear classic Beatles songs being written. Paul McCartney writing Let It Be, Get Back. The argument is actually between George and Paul is over Get Back. Paul was trying to, stifle George's creativity. If you hear the beginning segment and then at the end of the movie, the actual song that we all know, you probably would agree with Paul at this point in time. The albums, they're starting to come together. They're writing pieces of song. There's a lot of jamming that goes on. I was surprised they would sit and just jam for hours. I think this was part of their creative process where, they would play and play and play and try to come up with something, write a new song. And then Billy Preston shows up. He was going to do a television interview in London and stopped by the studio because he knew the Beatles back when the Beatles were playing in Hamburg, Germany. And they asked him to sit in. And The moment he sits in, you could hear the music go from this level up higher. He just added a totally new flavor to their music. Well, they wrote the whole album. They went up on the roof. They did the rooftop concert, and that's where the movie pretty much ends. We all know that Let It Be was the last album released by the Beatles, but yet it was written before the Abbey Road album. And 3 weeks later, they went in and started to write the Abbey Road album. And there's some glimpses of some songs off of the Abbey Road album, some of George's songs, and something Paul wrote. You'll have to watch the movie to find out. So while they were in the studio writing the Let It Be album, they actually got some ideas for the Abbey Road album. But it was a really good movie. I purchased Disney just for the sake of watching this movie, and to me it was worth it. It's 3 segments. I told you the time frame, 2.5 hours, almost 3 hours, and a third 2.5 hour movie put together on Disney Plus. You have to purchase Disney Plus and able to watch that at least today. Maybe it'll be released out sometime in the future for you. And I thought, if I can do a review, it's hard to say that somebody that doesn't like the Beatles or isn't into music would want to watch this. I can't say that they wouldn't, because to me it was probably the best film produced in the past 10 years for me. I was pleasantly surprised by everything that was in the movie. Was not in one moment disappointed. I watched the whole 6 hours straight through on my day off from work. And I would highly recommend the movie. Definitely for a Beatles fan, definitely for a musician, to see how the Beatles got together in the studio and worked out their music. So I'm going to give this movie a 10 on a scale of 1 to 10. I'm going to recommend highly musicians and most definitely Beatles fans watch this movie. You will enjoy it. So I'd like to say to all my viewers, thanks for watching this film. Would you please subscribe to my channels? And I have a lot of content coming up. A lot of videos to make. Stay tuned. We'll get more videos later. And always thank you for watching my channel.